I'm Dan Phelps with Learning to Smoke, and today I'm teaming up with Cowboy Charcoal to bring you one of my favorite dishes I like to make, and that is a tri-tip sandwich. Tri-tip is my favorite cut of beef, and I'm going to use that for this sandwich here today. That I'm going to combine some of these ingredients here, which we'll go over later in the video, but right now it's time to light some coals. Using some lump coal today, some oak and hickory in it. And now, gonna light that paper underneath, and I'll light the coals from the bottom up. We're gonna let this burn for about 7 to 10 minutes. While we do that, we're gonna get this recipe started. So this part of the recipe, we're just focusing on the tri-tip. And the prep of the tri-tip is super simple. So first I'm gonna wrap this here. And tri-tips are usually about 1.5 to 2 pounds. And you'll notice with the tri-tip that it's gonna have, some tri-tip have a fat cap on it, which is ideal. This is what you'll like because this will add a little extra flavor to it. But the prep for this is super simple. First, you take your seasoning, and then you apply that seasoning. I'm using some Jack Daniel's steak seasoning for this. Great thing about tri-tip is that it's a roast, but it cooks like a steak. And so usually the doneness, I like to get the tri-tip about medium rare. And make sure you get all sides, as you can see I'm doing here. And sometimes you may look at the sides and maybe the sides are a little smaller, maybe a little tougher to get. But one trick I like to do is you take those sides of the meat and just press it on the table where all the seasonings fell down. So that way you don't waste seasoning. And for me, I like to go moderate as far as the seasoning goes on these things, because I really like the flavor of the beef of the tri-tip to stand out. So it's been about 7 to 10 minutes. These coals are ready to go. And so now what I'm gonna do is take the grates out and then we'll dump the coals just like that. But I'm gonna put this all on one side. Now that I've got the 2-zone cooking established here, I'm gonna grab some hickory wood chunks. I'll grab a couple. I'm gonna throw them in. I'm not gonna put directly on, I'm just gonna put a little bit to the side. As you can see, you start to see some subtle smoke coming out of it already. I'm gonna put these grates back on here. And I'm gonna lower this with a hasty bake. I'm gonna lower it a little bit. Because the ideal smoking tip I want is gonna be 225 degrees. So I wanna go over difference between dirty smoke and clean smoke. So I think all too often some people, like when they get the coals, they just put them on the grill and then they immediately throw their food on there. One of the problems with that is that the wood is still getting its initial char going on and you're gonna get darker smoke. And with that, those flavors can impart into your meat and it won't taste as good. It'll taste a little burnt. So what you wanna do is give it a few minutes and wait for that smoke to get a little more clear or clean, that's what you call it, like a thin blue smoke is what we're looking for here. And with that, then we can put the meat on and now we're getting smoky wood flavor instead of that char flavor. So we'll give it a few more minutes here. So now that it's been a few minutes, we'll give it a look and burning much better there. So now take this tri-tip, and this tri-tip is about 2 pounds. And I'll lay it on this side. So I've got the coals on this side and no coals over here, so I'm trying to make it as indirect as possible. I'm gonna check the temps periodically. Ideally, the temperature I'm looking for on this is gonna be 120 degrees. So let's take a look here at the tri-tip and see where we're at. Oh, that tri-tip is beautiful. Take a look at that. Okay, so we're looking for about 120 degrees and we're at 119. Well, see that? It said 120 at the end, so I'm totally taking that. So I'm gonna take that tri-tip off and let it sit on the board. All right, so now I got to pull it off. What I'm gonna do here is I'm going to, with this hasty bake, I'm going to raise the grill. Now I'm gonna start cooking on the opposite side here where the coals are. And now, give it a good sear. usually depending on the temperature of the coals, I like to sear it about a minute or so on each side to get a good crust on there. All right, it's been just over a minute here. Let's take a look, see where we're at. I dig it. So now we'll just bring it back to the cutting board. And what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna let this rest for about 10 to 15 minutes. And we're gonna let those juices build up inside, so when we slice into it, they're not gonna come running out as if I would slice it right away. So we're gonna let it rest. We're gonna close the lid here, retain some of the heat because we're gonna toast some buns in there. But before we toast the buns, we're gonna make the spread. So let me move these buns here. The ingredients that we're gonna make for our spread here, we have mayonnaise, horseradish, garlic, balsamic vinegar, lemon, and also some rosemary. So first things first here is I'm gonna take some mayo, and usually you put about a cup in here. Mix it how you like, but for me, I like to go more heavy on the mayo than I do on the horseradish. We'll put some mayo in there. As far as the horseradish goes, in fact, I'll use the same spoon because I like to party. So I'll take about that much there, about a spoonful. Let me get some garlic. I like to put about, like minced garlic here, I like to put about, I don't know, a couple cloves worth. And then we'll pour in some balsamic vinegar. We'll squeeze some lemon here as well. And finally, we're gonna take some rosemary. Just gonna mince this up a little bit. I'll pour some of that in there. Take a spatula, and then we're gonna mix all the ingredients together. So now that we got that mixed, we're gonna toast some buns. So you can use different types of buns for this. I've got some brioche here. I do like Kaiser rolls as well. I also like ciabatta with it too. So let's lift up the grill. On the side with the coals, we're gonna put these, open them up, put them face down. All right, we'll close that lid. And we'll give it a little bit. We want to make sure we get a perfect golden brown toasted crust on the outside there. All right, let's go check these buns. These look really good. We'll definitely pull these off here. So now I'm gonna put this glove on and start slicing into the tri-tip because it's been about 10, 15 minutes here. And the thing with tri-tip is that there's two different grains. So, and usually the grains switch about midway through. And since we got a fat cap on top here, it's hard to tell. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna flip this over. I'm gonna see where the grains go. So as you can see, we got some grains going this way, and we got some going this way. So ideally what I wanna do is slice somewhere near the middle. And since the grains on the tri-tip are going this way here, I'm gonna start slicing on this side and just start slicing this way, that on this one. Now, something I should tell you as I'm slicing this tri-tip is that you'll notice that the tri-tip, unlike, it does cook like a steak, but unlike a steak, it is not perfectly even throughout, like your ribeyes, your porterhouse steaks, what have you. You'll notice that it gets thicker more in the middle, and near the ends, it starts to thin out. So the doneness may not be perfect throughout, but through the majority of it, it is about that medium rare temp that I wanted. And so when you slice into it, you want to try and go about pencil thin. If you like them thicker, then cut them thicker. And there we go. Look at that. It's got a good crust on the outside. The right doneness that I wanted on the inside. Grab a bite. Have mercy. I love the flavor. I especially love that hickory smoke flavor, the hickory wood smoke flavor that we're getting off the meat here too. So now that we got that done, I'm gonna get a new glove. And I'm gonna prep these buns. What we'll do is start assembling the sandwich. Open face, take that spread I made and spread on both sides. Make sure to do a good amount because you're gonna like that flavor. And now we'll take a couple slices of tri-tip, lay that there, we'll do that one there too. And you know what, let's do a third slice because we can. Then we'll take our Havarti cheese. So I'm gonna lay that on here. And if you have a food torch, great to use to toast that up too. It toasts up pretty quickly. So I'll do one slice there, and then I'll take some arugula. I'll throw it on the other bun here, and then put the sandwich together. Look at that. It's just dripping with goodness. And I'm gonna slice into it now. So let me make some space here on the board, some slicing action. Let's take a look. Looks awesome. And there you go, that's the tri-tip sandwich. Man, I love the flavor of this. I love that aioli that we made with this sandwich. Obviously the flavor of the tri-tip in there too, the toasted, the bun. It's all incredible. So thank you for watching this video. I'm Dan Phelps with Learn to Smoke. And until next week, keep cooking with Cowboy.